I mean, we're all absorbing. You know, we heard some rumors as early as yesterday, a few days ago. Someone said something may be coming out, an investigation as it relates to this. And, you know, it's March 30th, I think at the end of the month, Cesar Chavez Day. And, you know, every year the governor of California proclaims Cesar Chavez Day. It's in the statute. And how many days I've marched, how many times I've been with students, you know, talking about the movement, and how many photographs I have in my house of Bobby Kennedy and Cesar Chavez. Woke up this morning, it was right there. And so it's been hard to absorb this. You know, Jen and I are very close with Dolores, so many of us are, but very close. Have been for decades and decades, and none of us knew. And we were sharing all this. And so we're just, I think all of us are processing it. And, you know, and just these kids have to process it now. I mean, I think there's, Brooks, I don't know, was 36 schools in the state are named after Cesar Chavez. I don't know, a community in the country. I traveled to 14 states last few weeks. I think I was, you know, in 14 Cesar Chavez streets in every part of this country. So we're just going to have to reflect on all of that and, you know, reflect on a farm workers movement and a labor movement that was much bigger than one man and celebrate that. And that will be our focus as we process what the next steps are. But I also am mindful that it's one thing for me to process, for some of us, it's for young kids, this is hard. And so I hope we have some grace in that respect, is they wonder if there is a name change, their identity to their school, to this icon that they thought one thing of, and how we process that shift. And so, you know, this is, you know, this is the world we're living in, and we're for justice, we're for the truth, we're for transparency. We want to have the backs of our victims, but it's a sensitive moment. Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm just processing this within, you know, hours of. I just read the article this morning. As I say, there was never an indication all these years. You know, particularly, I mean, spent so much time with Dolores, and now finding about 2 kids. I mean, it was, you know, just a lot to process. So, look, I think again, it's about the movement, it's about farm workers, it's about labor, it's about social justice, economic justice, racial justice, all things that the movement you know, has inspired, and we should all be celebrating.
Governor, in terms of prevention, I'm curious to get your take. What does it say about the systems that have been in place here in California that this kind of alleged abuse has been?
Well, it's not unique to California. I mean, this has all been highlighted in pretty, you know, three-dimensional ways, and Epstein and all the rest. I mean, this is a broader culture. I mean, this literally goes to the heart of the work. I'm here with someone who's been at this for decades, my wife, who's been calling this out for decades, has done 7 documentaries, calling out the why, the systems. What we just signed in the executive order goes to start to address those issues. It's amazing how lazy we are, that we're not getting under the hood and dealing with the real structural reasons why. It's about power. It's about dominance, aggression. It's not about empathy, care, compassion. It's not about women and girls. It's not been, you know, it's not been the priority. And now it's all being washed away in real time. You're seeing this move by the current administration to put America in reverse on voting rights, highlighted the SAVE Act conversations, civil rights writ large, and anti-woke legislation, anti-DEI legislation. And so, you know, all of those are just proof points of the work we have to do, but they're deeper and systemic, and they're bigger than our state. The difference is, though, in our state, we've been pushing back against a lot of those forces, but we have a lot of institutional work still to do.
Governor, you've spoken often.
Just one second. I'll get you, Jeremy.
Would you consider changing the holiday name to reflect the movement instead of the...
Yeah, look, I would. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And look, yeah, I'm open. Obviously, these are brand new conversations. So we're having conversations in a very public way right now. But those are important conversations. I think we need to have those conversations. I think that's the right thing to do. But, you know, we have to unpack all this and dive a little bit deeper, seek first to understand before we're understood, before we jump to the next steps. And so this, there's a sense of urgency on that in the context of this being, month we celebrate the life and times of a figure we've long embraced and revered. And so now we're learning more. And we have to be there for the back of the victims, and we have to make sure truth and trust is restored, and we have to make sure we're transparent and people are accountable in that context.
Governor, you've
Forgive me.
spoken often of your reverence for Bobby Kennedy. You referenced it just now. Probably Cesar Chavez's biggest political ally. I know we're still all processing this, but I'm curious for you, given that really personal connection, like how you process it in light of those connections.
Jeremy, I wasn't exaggerating. I was brushing my teeth. There they were. To the right, yeah. That's the first photo I wake up to, black and white photo. I've talked to you. In the past, I talk about my why, standing up to ideals, striking out against injustice. So much of it is captured in the vernacular of those times, and Sarge Shriver and Bobby and Cesar, and solving even the language. I wasn't being loose in my language a moment ago. I talked in the context of this press conference about solving for ignorance, poverty, and disease. That's the language of the 60s. That's what they represented. But there was a hard-headed pragmatism as well that defined that their work. And so, it's difficult. And as I say, it was, it is even more difficult just, learning more about someone I know so well, like Dolores. And so, I think, again, Jen and I, it's hard, I don't want to overstate, because I think everyone shares this with Dolores. She's 96 years young. She's ubiquitous. She's everywhere. And we all feel like we know her. We all feel like she knows us. And so, all of this has sort of captured a moment where, requires a little more reflection, a little more understanding. We need a little bit of space, but we need to move. If we need to move, we'll do so together. We'll talk to the caucuses. There are already conversations at the staff level, and you can imagine Sacramento. Those are robust right now. You'll have some reporting shortly, and I'll learn more as well about those conversations.